What you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do?
Well, where we are right now is we're going to be in the sorry about that. We're in the Westminster area, southbound 405 freeway, but this started way up in the Los Angeles area. Actually, there was a citizen, maybe the person that owned this vehicle, was following it and calling the LAPD saying that, hey, this vehicle is stolen and I'm following it. And this went on for a little bit. LAPD got behind it. They turned on their lights and sirens, and it was on. It was a pursuit. It's been on the freeways pretty much as long as we've been listening to it. It did get off at one point, but basically just to get back onto the southbound 405. It was on the 101 for a little bit when we were in the LA area, but then it's been on the 405 ever since. Now, LAPD, they've been behind it, but they went into tracking mode, and we all know that, and living in Los Angeles, how that goes. So they backed off. Their lights and sirens still on, but they are far behind this vehicle. The LAPD helicopter is the one that's still over it. The LAPD helicopter is the one that's still over it, making most of the calls and following this vehicle. Now, this person does that they are being followed because the LAPD was in pursuit, but the speeds never got over 80 miles an hour. Now, was that because of traffic or was that because of the decision the driver made? That's all to be figured out later on. But right now, they are still tracking it. They are asking for the California Highway Patrol to pick this up. But right now, it's just a vehicle driving on the freeway. We're passing Westminster as the off-ramp. We're in the city of Westminster also on the 405, getting into heavy traffic. LAPD, their unit's still behind it, but far behind right now, working to catch up. The helicopter overhead, making the calls, keeping an eye on where this suspect is going.
Again, we're over this stolen car pursuit right here in the Westminster area. And Stu, you've been over this, and clearly this person is getting into a little bit of traffic. You can see the driver because the window is down at this point.
Right, we're going to use some of the tech that we have here in Skyfox, just kind of getting a glance at what's going on in there. It does appear that it is just the driver in this minivan trying to get a read on what that logo is on the car and possibly get some how this vehicle was stolen. I don't know if this was a crime of opportunity, meaning that maybe somebody was using this as delivery or whatever that van is being used for, and then just left the keys in it, and somebody saw this vehicle running and figured it's a crime of opportunity, or if this was a planned type of deal. This is even somebody that this person knows that just took the vehicle without permission. But at this point, they're calling this stolen. This has been a full-on pursuit. California Highway Patrol may be getting into the mix right now. Been kind of, ear hustling, listening to the scanners, trying to figure out what they're planning on doing. The LAPD's basically telling the units on the ground that they can follow right now until the California Highway it up. But as far as re-engaging the pursuit, meaning getting right behind it, turning on those lights and sirens, right now they're saying no. You can see the LAPD right there. Don't want to lose our vehicle. It's got the logo on the side, but they seem to have just passed. So maybe they have been told basically just back off. We're going to let the California Highway Patrol handle it. As far as that goes, we've left the LA area. We're getting into Orange County. So now it's going to be up to the Orange County Division, California Highway Patrol, to make that decision if they're going to get behind it, try to pull it over, if this is going to become a full-blown pursuit once again.
So it does look like this driver is by himself in this vehicle, at least from this vantage point. Obviously, it's a little, the windows are a bit tinted, and we have no idea if anyone's in the back. What we can tell so far, and very just casually cruising along, right? Just judging by the body language there, doesn't seem to be all that concerned with what's going on. I am talking about the, holiday travel and how people are on the roads. It looks like it's pretty open for this time of the morning, 9:32 right now. It could have been a very different situation. It is concerning because, we always talk about this. The people who are on the road with this driver have absolutely no idea what's going on.
That's right. No idea what's going on. And sometimes these drivers can drive so recklessly, but this one seems to be just trying to blend into the traffic, which isn't really going to work. We're looking at it, and I'm sure the LAPD is keeping an eye on it as well. Right now, though, just kind of moving along at a slow pace there, and he does seem to have maybe venture to say a little tension going on just by the hand movements as he's making his way here on the South 405. the traffic goes, it is starting to build up right there. And you can see the California Highway Patrol working with the LAPD right there, one of the motorcycle units. So I would venture to say that that motorcycle unit knows that that's the car and that this is the suspect that they're looking for. Again, these officers, it all works in a command type of situation. Go off on their own, try to pull this vehicle over. They're going to be working with their supervisors. They're going to make decisions on if they're going to try to pull this person over, how they're going to handle it. But right now, tracking mode seems to be the safest thing to do. If this driver just stays in this normal type of driving pattern, this become just a situation of they're going to follow it till it pulls over, and then they'll see what happens. But again, LAPD all over out there. You can see a number of them there as well. Those officers talking to the California Highway Patrol. They've got to make that decision. Somebody's got to make that call. Are they going to get behind it? What are they going to do with this van?
Yeah, the good news is that we have not seen this driver, the suspect inside this stolen vehicle that police are pursuing right now, driving erratically. So clearly he's not going at a high rate of speed at this point. He's not driving erratically, going into other lanes or really hurting any of the other cars or drivers along that stretch of freeway. But yeah, you know, when he sees those black and whites behind him, and now he is going into the shoulder where it looks like there's some construction, Stu.
Well, the deputy, we're seeing him speed up just a little bit. I just pulled up the map there, or the speedometer for folks at home, and he's actually in that construction zone, and it does look like definitely trying to move a little bit faster, get a little bit distance between him and some of those other officers. There's one of the California Highway Patrol. I haven't had enough time with my scanner to open up some banks, but it does look like that California Highway Patrol has been cleared to get by. And you can see this may become a full-blown pursuit once again. That driver in that construction, hope there is no construction going on, as he's definitely going to be endangering some of those workers. But right now, just moving a little bit faster than traffic speed, only about 45 miles an hour. But still, if he collides with somebody that's standing still, that could be a very dangerous situation. And you can see California Highway Patrol re-engaging this pursuit right now as we're making our way southbound on the 405 freeway, entering the Huntington Beach area. Again, this is a stolen vehicle from up in the Los Angeles area. Originally, it was a civilian following this vehicle, making the phone calls, telling the officers where the van was, and then LAPD got behind it, and now it's being handed off to the California Highway Patrol.
So that logo on the side there, I didn't really get a good look. Were you able to make out what it says?
I have been trying desperately since we arrived to try to read what that says right there. That's the best we can get right now, because we are up a little bit higher because of LAPD. We have to give them their space that they need to work, but that's probably the best we're going to be able to get and see what it's trying to say. But you can clearly see the driver there now starting to use the mirrors, both hands on the wheels. So they are just going to keep this pursuit going. There's a phone number there as well. Hopefully they won't get inundated with phone calls as we're putting it on television right now.
I know, it's likely a business. That's what I see is Fit for Life? Fit for Life?
Fit for Life.
Fit for Life.
Fit for Life 1, yeah. Maybe it's some sort of exercise, or maybe food delivery, but right now the driver of that van probably would venture to say has nothing to do with Fit for Life, and again is running from the California Highway Patrol. This pursuit on once again southbound 405 freeway. The speed's nominal, meaning about what the flow of traffic's doing, and hopefully they'll stay out of that construction zone. But this driver just venturing to say, buying his time, just keeping away from the law enforcement, and you can see the driving normal. I would just leave it at that right now. I'd give him a normal for the driving techniques. But again, this is a stolen vehicle. That driver took that car. You don't know what could happen next, and also what else is going on with this vehicle. California Highway Patrol, they're the ones in pursuit. LAPD still has a helicopter above making the calls. Vehicle is. Okay, so it looks like this is a business out of Southgate, at least by the name of it, and the phone number seems to match. So this is maybe on Paramount Boulevard, Southgate. This, you know, I'm just trying to piece it all together. But that civilian that called in and was following this vehicle, you know, you wonder, did they see the
in front of them? How were they clued in, right, as to the fact that this was a stolen vehicle?
Right, and you know, the one thing that I'm thinking is you know, even if this was a person that saw it or was perhaps the owner of that vehicle, how did they get into a vehicle so fast to be able to? But there's a lot of questions going on there. But one of the questions I have right now is, why is he starting to pick up a lot of speed? We're starting to this is about as fast as we've seen this vehicle going since we have been over it. The traffic very light out here in the Fountain Valley area on the southbound 405. That one CHP unit, two CHP units right now, right behind it, those lights and sirens, at least warning the public that something may be going on. But this vehicle tends to be in the carpool or the number one lane. So those are going to be usually the thing that I always used to say is the carpool is not the super fast lane, but is tending to be the ones with the least traffic. So higher speeds. Right now, it is exactly freeway speed right now as we're making our way still southbound on the 405, and we're going to still be in the Fountain Valley area, but speed's definitely increasing as this van's trying to create distance between him, California Highway Patrol, right behind him.
Yeah, a lot of the unknowns we're trying to figure out right now, we won't have answers for, as to why he stole this vehicle, what was the intent, how he did it, and where this suspect is going now. Speeds going up to 100 miles per hour at one point right there, but overall not driving too erratically in terms of jeopardizing other people on the road at this point, but wide open right there as he makes his way onto the freeway into, I should say, Orange County, as we've been following him from the LA County area. And Stu, I know you've been overhead the whole time, and yeah, the good thing is that nobody has really been in danger at this point.
Nobody's been in danger at this point, and that driver seems to be pretty cognizant of what is going on out there. Hand out the window, at least there wasn't a gesture. I was waiting to pull back there, but definitely aware of what's going on. Not sure if he's using, maybe some folks are calling him. I'm sure there's a lot of Fox viewers that are out there today watching this, but you can see that driver, two hands on the wheel, keeping an eye on the road, and it seems to be that this person is just taking for a drive right now, or this van for a drive. And of course the California Highway Patrol, they're not as amused as we might be. They want to bring this thing to an end, and of course when you have a stolen vehicle like this, anything is possible. That driver right now might be driving very casually on the 405, but things could change up. If this vehicle gets blocked in, that driver might make some poor decisions, and that might put the public at risk, and that's what law enforcement always has to weigh these things out, and that might be the reason why the LAPD, I believe it was a lieutenant or sergeant, whoever it was, chain of command, basically said, no, we are not chasing this vehicle. We have the helicopter above it. We're just going to keep an eye on where it goes, and when it pulls, we'll see. But now the California Highway Patrol behind it, and they might have some different ideas on this. Is it going to be a pit maneuver? Is it going to be spike strips? Probably not, especially if he stays on the freeway.
Yeah, there's so much to consider, and public safety is number one, of course, in these types of situations. It does seem like this driver at times picks up speed and then just kind of slows down. Again, really, I guess the fact that the freeway is pretty much wide open is a little surprising.
Well, it is a little. I've always kind of canned that saying, you know, pursuit traffic. Is a lot of times we'll watch one of these pursuits on the freeway, and in spots where you'd think you're never going to get anywhere, there's going to be a ton of traffic, and then when they get there, it's always wide open. The one thing I got to say though about this vehicle, I'm keeping an eye on it, does seem to tend to like get closer to the wall. Even though there's a lane there, he seems to be going into that construction area. See right there, but right now looks like, oh, nope, see now straddling the lanes. So I have a feeling this driver not really sure where he's going, just kind of doing the open road, what I got in front of me, and I'm just going to go as fast as I can. And earlier on, I was wondering if those speeds were correct. Right now, I can tell you they are correct. So he is going about 90 miles an hour as we're making our way on the 405 southbound. Going to pick him up right here once again, and I can tell you that we've entered the city of Costa Mesa, and this pursuit continuing on out here, California Highway Patrol right behind it. And again, lights and sirens, that's going to at least warn the public. But that van tends to be floating between the carpool or the number one lane and the number two lane as they're making our way on the 405, solid in the Orange County area.
I thought at one point I did see a turn signal turn on from that stolen vehicle. Maybe I didn't see it correctly, but yeah, as he was changing lanes, I saw one point. But clearly, you know, each pursuit is very, very different. You never know the intent of the driver, where he's going, why he did this, what could be inside that vehicle, that minivan as well, because it is somebody's business. There could be product in there, meals, as you mentioned, or maybe fitness equipment. But yeah, the intent is really unknown in terms of why this suspect chose this minivan and then decided to take this joyride from LA all the way into Orange County right now, where the suspect is going to go. Now, why he's straddling these lanes. It looks like he's in the carpool lane, sometimes going into construction lanes. And, you know, the big thing is, when do they decide, okay, let this guy go, we'll keep an eye on him in another way and figure it out later, or to continue this pursuit?
Well, you know, right now, California Highway Patrol is taking over, and they have a vested interest. They actually have brought in the LAPD helicopter, dropped off, went back to work out in the Los Angeles area, and the California Highway Patrol has their own helicopter out here right now, and they're the ones that are making the calls and tracking this vehicle and working with the ground units. Are they going to go into tracking mode? I really haven't seen that in the past, especially with the California Highway Patrol. They tend to stay with it as long and bring it to an end, it with safety always in mind. Now, that driver definitely picking up a lot of speed out here. Just starting to touch the 100-mile-an-hour mark. I'm sure that Honda is able to get into those speeds, but right now that driver keeping it down just under the triple digits. Again, you know, we just don't know. My curiosity is, and as you mentioned, is, you know, we'll try to find out. I don't know if we ever will. Who was that person following it? And what is the relationship going on here? How did this person steal that vehicle? Again, was it a crime of opportunity? Was it because there's something in that vehicle that person might have wanted? As you'd mentioned, if this might be Fitness for Life, could be a workout company. There could be workout gear in there that maybe this person figures, well, you know what, I can get a hold of that and maybe use it. But right now you can see that vehicle just moving along at a very good clip. Traffic very light out here in the Orange County area as we're making our way into Irvine right now. Don't get to say that too often. And you can see it right there. I'm going to get a little bit wider. I promise I won't lose the car. And you can see the freeway wide open. California Highway Patrol, they've got 1, 2, and maybe 3 vehicles in pursuit right now. Their helicopter above, everybody trying to keep the public safe, but they also want that van back and that driver in custody.
And it looks like they are keeping quite a distance, law enforcement is at this point. They're not right up against this driver, just giving the driver some space, just, I guess, hoping that it doesn't encourage this driver to act erratically is my... But they're not right up against him.
Protocol is definitely something that the officers, the law enforcement in California work with, and they is enforced, and they obey it very, very well. And you're right, it could be maybe psychological. You don't want to have that cruiser right up on his bumper, lights and sirens, and it might increase that driver's you know, anxiousness. He'll look in the mirror, he'll see those lights and sirens, he'll panic, and also it might be safety for the officer as well. You know, if he's right there up on that close to him and that driver does something erratic, then the officer might be in peril of slamming into that car or creating part of the problem, part of the accident. So again, those guys, the guys and gals from a California Highway Patrol and all the law enforcement out here in the California area, all very highly trained. They're not just in that car hammering that gas pedal. It's not a video game. These guys do it for a living. They do it for saving lives and keeping people safe. And so they are trained, and they are trained for all kinds of situations. And again, they are being as safe as possible while trying to bring this person into custody and that safely without anybody getting hurt.
Can't see the driver. We had a good look at him. What appeared to be a man, at least. For a long time, even he put his hand out the window at some point, and again, we don't know if he's on the phone, if he's listening to us perhaps, or scanner, and if he knows what's happening here, but clearly he knows he's being tailed by the CHP. But he raised that window up, and now we can't get a good look inside. But yeah, don't know what he's thinking, where he's going, what he's doing, and why.
You know, a lot of times we get that, you know, those questions is where is he going? What's he doing? Like that, we just don't honestly know. Nobody really does. I would even venture to say the driver of that car won't really know what he's doing. Right now, it's just a crime of opportunity. He's going to continue southbound. He's probably going to stay ahead of the law enforcement as long as he can. The California Highway Patrol, they're going to stay behind him as long as they're allowed or they feel that there's a safety issue for the public. And of course, there's property involved. They want to bring that van back to the rightful owner. So right now, it's still a wide open southbound freeway. We can tell you that we're still in the Irvine area. 405 is the freeway we're heading on. And you can see right there, we're going to be making that opportunity to get on something else. We might be, well, we are getting onto the 5 South right now, but that van continues to elude those officers in that carpool lane and just staying just above freeway speeds this morning. And again, California Highway Patrol right behind it. Who's in 5? Who's the pilot? Can we get a real pilot? Whoa! Yeah, but he's not very good. I just don't think he is. He is? All right. Well, then I trust you. I trust you. That's right. San Clemente is the city we're in right now, making good time. If you're in a stolen vehicle on the 5 freeway, you're going 94 miles an hour. We did see a little swerving there just a moment ago. Possibly that driver working with something else in the vehicle, maybe his phone. Don't really know. But California Highway Patrol, I do know what they want. They want to bring this thing to an end. They want to bring it to an end safely with nobody injured. Now, this vehicle's been moving about freeway speeds to just recently. We've been basically just touching the, in the 90s. High 80-mile-an-hour speeds, and again, just staying over in that far, far left lane. California Highway Patrol, you got 2 units there behind them. Now, this is going to be in the Orange County area, and again, they have switched out themselves a couple of times now. These are probably 2 of the third time we've seen them actually switch divisions out here as this vehicle is continuing southbound on the 5 freeway. I can tell you something that's pretty frustrating for us up here in Skyfox is we're making our way over to Camp Camp Pendleton. Now, Camp Pendleton is a restricted airspace because of military operations. My pilot is working with their tower right now, hoping that we will be allowed in to at least follow this pursuit along the freeway and transition through their airspace if it is possible. If it is not, there isn't anything that we can probably do to keep up or follow along. Now, the helicopter from the law enforcement, which would be the California Highway Patrol right now, they will get special permission. They are a law enforcement aircraft. They're not just the media like we are, so they'll be able to follow it, and of course the guys on the ground, they'll be behind it too. But as far as coverage in the air, that might be coming to an end here shortly as we're making our way over towards the Camp Pendleton area. Right now, their aircraft, their airspace controller telling us they have reasons to tell us we cannot enter the airspace, probably because they're doing some kind of air event, you know, using their jets and etc. Right now, though, this pursuit does continue. The freeway speeds are just touched into the 100-mile-an-hour mark, and the freeway itself is getting a little bit busier. You can see that vehicle having to actually get around somebody right there. The California Highway Patrol, their lights and sirens, probably alerting a lot of these folks of what's going on. That type of move that you saw right there where you just kind of cut that other vehicle off, that's what everybody's worried about. We don't want to see anybody get hurt, especially a civilian, and also the driver of this stolen vehicle right now. We don't want to see that person hurt either. But speed's definitely speeding up as we're making our way southbound on the 5. We're going to still be in the San Clemente area, but as far as the California Highway Patrol goes, they just want to bring this thing to an end safely. Dylan, talk to me. We're doing the mile offshore, I guess. All right. Yep. I'll try to keep an eye on him. Well, I can tell you Skyfox got kind of clearance to follow. We're going to do the best we can. They're basically telling us that we need to get a mile away from the freeway, so that's what we're doing right now, and they got to stay above 2,000 feet. That's basically where we are usually at any rate, but to get away from, a mile away from the freeway, it's all just math and physics. We have to actually it's trigonometry. Is it trigonometry or geometry? Anyhow, you can see what's going on. The pursuit is getting farther and farther away from us right now. As soon as we get to that mile mark and we're allowed to track along with it, we'll probably be able to catch up. We saw the speeds just touching 100 miles an hour. Skyfox can pretty much get up to about 135 along the ground. That's the usual speed for Skyfox when we're cruising to and from a story. But as far as keeping track of it, well, we'll do the best we can. I'm not sure if you want to stay with us all that time, but right now we're basically about a mile away and we're off from the freeway. So this lens working pretty well this morning. And now I'm being told that, yeah, now Dylan's telling me that, so we can't get any farther out. So I guess that's it, and I can feel they're telling this is, yeah. So we can't do it, right, Dylan? Tell me nobody else is doing it. Okay. All right, if you guys can hear me, we can't go. We can't do it. Can't do it. Why can't we do it? You can tell me. I'm not going to say anything. All right. Okay. So, Melissa, we're not on the air.